I was living in Richmond, Virginia years ago when during a meeting an obvious earthquake hit. We were up on the second floor and the building swayed enough that we were really well shaken. Sometime later, we watched the video from the security camera that caught us scrambling for the doors. All of us purely and selfishly interested in only in his or her own well-being, not one sign of concern for anyone else. We were just getting out of there. Everyone for himself or herself. It was rather embarrassing to watch. But one night about midnight, an earthquake hit the city of Philippi, and there was no such mad rush for the doors. But the jailer didn't know that. It's all there in Acts chapter 16. Once he realized he was okay, the jailer bolted through the door toward the cell block. He could see that the building had been compromised. As he turned the corner, he saw the cell doors open, and he assumed the prisoners had fled. I'll be fired, or worse, he thought. So he drew his sword for the purpose of taking his own life. Even death was better than shame. Wait, don't hurt yourself, called the missionaries, Paul and Silas, from inside the cells. We're all here. Something about a near-death experience makes things clear. The whole of the jailer's life seemed to focus like a laser on the matter of salvation. The jailer must have been listening carefully to what Paul and Silas had been preaching. Maybe he had spoken with them personally. Somehow he knew the word saved. What must I do to be saved? The jailer asked. Welcome to TV, Tennessee Valley Church. On this beautiful North Alabama day, we are in Huntsville's Big Spring Park, and I'm awfully glad you have joined us. Back to the earthquake and the jailer. What must I do to be saved? The jailer asked. You and I use the word saved fairly frequently. We say, counseling saved our marriage. The lifeguard saved the child from drowning. The seat belts and airbags saved my life. But the Bible uses the word saved more profoundly, which brings us to today's topic, salvation. We're in the second week of this series, Beliefs That Shape Us. Last week we talked about the Bible. Today we talk about salvation. What does it mean, this biblical matter of salvation? In the Bible, salvation is much like a multifaceted diamond. There are several ways to look at it. The Bible uses a number of metaphors to describe salvation, the experience of being saved. The Bible speaks of being born again. The Bible speaks of redemption, as in the purchase of freedom of an enslaved person. Of justification, as in the slate wiped clean for a guilty person, and adoption, as in a new family for one without a home. The Bible speaks of being made alive from the dead. The Bible speaks of becoming new creatures. In every biblical description of this salvation, it's a spiritual new beginning. The past doesn't vanish, of course. God doesn't turn back the clock or undo what has been done. Memories, neither the individuals nor those of others, are not erased. But in God's eyes and in that individual's heart, salvation is a new beginning. Salvation is a new spiritual beginning, and salvation is holistic. God is interested in saving our souls and our relationships and our physical health, our mental health, our hobbies and schedules. Jesus saves not only our souls, He saves our bank accounts and our social media accounts. To be saved is to have one's entire life transformed. God is interested in saving the whole person. He is also interested in saving the whole world. God saves us so that we can be His agents in saving the world around us. Mark Stearns experienced one of the most radical transformations I have ever heard. He was saved, and saved is a great word for what happened to Mark. Mark dealt with the pain of a terribly traumatic childhood, with everything from sniffing gasoline to snorting cocaine. In fact, he was high the night that his friend Jack Rutledge told Mark about Jesus, and Mark was dramatically saved. But God didn't just save Mark's soul and give him a ticket to heaven. God put it on Mark's heart to rescue the Lincoln Village community in Huntsville. Mark went to work. Now in that community there's a school, there's the ministry of home renovation and affordable housing. God saved Mark and in many ways saved a community. Having been saved, we have a calling to join God in making things right in the world. From poverty to racial disparity to education to certainly to helping others know Jesus as we know Jesus. Salvation is also eternal. To be saved is to receive a new eternal destiny. I take comfort and my faith is strengthened by something the late Chris Gaddis, a member of our church, said not long before his death. Chris told his wife, Ann, "Either way, I win." Either way, he said, whether God gave Chris health here on earth or took him home, Chris won. That's eternal salvation. Life that continues beyond our last breath on earth in the presence of our Savior. How does this salvation thing work? To quote the jailer in Acts 16, what must one do to be saved? To answer that question, let's hear from Romans 10, 9 and 10.
If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved.
First, we openly claim Jesus as Lord. Romans 10 says, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. Most likely that phrase, Jesus is Lord, was a baptismal confession. It's believed that before the earliest Christians were baptized, they would declare aloud, Jesus is Lord. When those early believers declared Jesus is Lord, they were affirming that He is God, that He is King of the universe and their supreme master. To declare with one's heart that Jesus is Lord is to declare Him Lord of both the universe and of one's life. It's to pull over and give Him the steering wheel of our lives. I was teaching our son Landon to drive a stick shift. He was a teenager. We were in downtown Richmond, Virginia at a red light. And when the light turned green, he stalled. And then he stalled again. And so we ran around the car, switching places in crowded downtown Richmond, like in a comedy routine. And I took the wheel. For we both knew that at that point, I could do what he could not. Declaring Jesus is Lord says I'm no longer in the driver's seat. Again, Jesus is Lord was probably a baptismal declaration. So let's talk about baptism. In our church, we practice what we call believer's baptism by immersion. The believer's part means that folks have made a conscious decision on their own to follow Jesus. The immersion part means we put people under the water. The Greek word baptizo, in fact, means to immerse. So unless there are physical limitations that prevent it, in our church, we immerse people. Baptism is a beautiful symbol. When the person being baptized goes under the water and comes back up, it symbolizes two things. One, Jesus died and was resurrected. Two, that person being baptized has died to an old life and has been reborn to a new life. So, if you have made the decision to follow Jesus, but you've not been baptized, talk to a minister. Share your desire. Obey Jesus' command to go public with your faith through baptism. The method that the church uses is not nearly as important as your obedience and the beauty of baptism. Believe in our hearts. So we confess with our mouth Jesus is Lord. Second, we believe in our hearts. Rick Bragg, Pulitzer Prize winning author from my home county of Calhoun, was exposed to church growing up. His mom didn't feel like she was good enough to go to church. But Rick went sometimes with his relatives. He didn't go enough, however, to figure things out. In fact, he got rather confused over this matter of salvation. In his book, All Over But the Shoutin', he wrote, "We all try to buy our way into heaven one way or another. Some try to barter, as if the great hereafter was a swap meet in the clouds. Me? I'd always figured that if I did right by my mama, I had a shot. I tried to buy my way in with a set of dentures." Bragg loved his mama, that lady who had taken in ironing and scrubbed floors to provide for him when his daddy wouldn't. And Rick Bragg now had been successful to the point that he could provide some things for his precious mother. Bragg wrote, "I was trying to bribe my way into glory, a $50 bill at a time." Rick Bragg had something inside him that cried out for salvation, for something deeper on earth and the promise of heaven when he dies. And he was trying to earn that by being good to his mom. Of course, it's important to know that we cannot earn this salvation. Ephesians 2:8-9 reads, "It is by grace that you're saved, through faith, not by works, so that no one can boast." Salvation then is a gift from God when we place our faith in Jesus, not by just being nice to your mama. Paul and Silas, the missionaries, answered the jailer's question. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and you will be saved. Romans 10:10 adds, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. Now, it doesn't take many Sunday school classes or readings of the New Testament to know that believe on is more than a shallow, perfunctory tip of the intellectual hat, too. The word believe is an I'll stake my life on it kind of belief. It's an I'm rearranging my whole life based on this belief kind of belief. We are to believe, Romans 10 says, with our hearts. The Bible often speaks of the heart when it speaks of spiritual transformation. Proverbs 4:23 reads, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it, from the heart. God promises through Ezekiel, I will give you a new heart. This isn't merely emotional change. It's a fundamental reorientation of a person's core. In the Hebrew perspective, echoed in the New Testament, the heart is the center of the whole person, the emotions to be sure, but also the intellect, the personality, the will or decision making, our morality, and our spirituality. The heart was considered a person's headquarters, command center, if you will. To believe with one's heart is to believe with all one is and all one has. So let me ask you, are you ready to believe in Jesus with your heart? When we come back in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you my favorite heart story.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune my heart to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy never ceasing, call for songs of loudest praise. Teach me some to be. Let thy grace now, like a fetter, bind my wandering heart to thee. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it. Seal it for thy courts above. Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. Prone to leave the God I love. Here's my heart, Lord, take and seal it. Seal it for thy courts above.
Steve and Tarika Metter are from Huntsville, and they are missionaries, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
You all are missionaries to Peru, Chile, and the Caribbean. How did this calling come about?
We love to travel. We've got a passion for travel. And at some point, about 17 years ago, we were at church in Dayton, Ohio. And a friend of ours, Mike Reed, came up to me one Sunday and said, "Why don't you go to Peru with me?" I said, "Why are we going to Peru?" And he said, "I go on mission there." I said, "Sure, I'll go." And we've not looked back. Every year for 17 years, we've gone to Peru. We've expanded into Chile and the Caribbean. But one of the things that Tarika and I really like is to help develop relationships, biblical relationships. And that, by saying that, I mean like marriage, parenting, the things people would deal with on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of people have difficulties in life because life comes at you hard. But the Bible tells us so much about that. And so we develop that, and we use a curriculum or different things that we teach. We do a lot of things when we travel. We speak at conferences. We preach. We also teach in Bible studies. And we've got 25 baptisms coming up in the Caribbean. And I've been told to watch for the tides to make sure you baptize at the right moment so that they can come up towards shore and not sweep out toward the ocean. And let's see, we've done some weddings. And we also teach on church leadership, and that's also culturally unique when you're teaching leadership in other countries. And one of the things we do is go to the same churches. We believe that we develop relationships with the churches, as then we help them learn about relationships.
That's so important because the people have to trust you to accept the message that you're bringing to them.
Right.
What are some of your favorite stories that you can share with us?
Oh, wow.
How you've seen God work in people's lives?
I love it when God affirms the work that He's doing through us there. I remember one time, it was in Cuba several years ago, and we had been teaching in a couples conference, particularly on Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages. And we were out walking later that evening, and a young man comes pedaling up just as fast as he can on a bicycle, and he's shouting to us, and he's waving, "Stop, stop, stop." And we stop, and he gets off his bike, and he says, "I just have to thank you. I thank you so much for everything you've been teaching us. My wife has learned that my love language is words of affirmation. She's been leaving little notes all over the house for me, and it just made me feel so loved and respected that I had to run out and get her favorite ice cream. So I've got ice cream here, and I have to get home really quickly before it melts. But I just wanted to tell you thank you because our marriage is so much stronger." And they had not been in a good place, but all of a sudden they're almost in a competition to outlove each other in their relationship. And it was so fun to see that, the look on his face.
When we speak, we talk about the mistakes we've made because we are not perfect. We don't have a perfect marriage. We've been married 40 years. But the mistakes we made, but the triumphs that we have in our marriage and raising our 2 daughters, I think that really becomes relevant for people when they look at us and say, yeah, it's going to be tough, but we can do this.
I think it's so important that we can learn from each other's mistakes and share that and be open with that.
Absolutely.
And it all starts at home with a strong family, and that
Yes.
builds strong community.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much, and look forward to hearing about more trips in the future.
Well, thank
you.
you. Thanks for having us.
From 1981 to 1983, I worked at a boys' home in Venezuela. In that home for boys, I met a 9-year-old Guajira Indian boy with scarlet skin and piercing black eyes named Jose Gregorio. His mom was not sure of the father, and because she was either unable or unwilling to care for the boy, she had taken him to live with an elderly Venezuelan couple in their small village. When the boy became old enough to go to school, this elderly couple felt they couldn't rear him properly, so they took him to live at the boys' home. If there ever was a lost sheep, it was Jose. No real family, no real identity, no real place in Venezuelan society. And that little Guajira Indian boy came to live at the Baptist boys' home in Mene Grande. There I met him, and we became buddies. One day we were in the room they called my office talking about what it means to follow Jesus. Jose had been exposed in various times and places to what that meant, but we were recovering the bases. In the middle of our conversation, he interrupted me and said, "Hermano Travis, mi corazón está haciendo boom, 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 boom," which means, "Brother Travis, my heart is going boom, 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 boom." I asked, "What do you think that is, Jose?" And he answered, "Creo que es Jesús. I believe it's Jesus." Jesus, the Christ, by His Spirit, was, to use a phrase that will seem corny to some, knocking on the door of his heart, issuing an invitation to transformation, to new and eternal life. So let me ask you a couple of personal questions. One, have you ever experienced that boom, boom, boom of your heart? And two, have you experienced a new heart? The transformation so dramatic, Jesus called it a new birth, the transformation of your heart. If not, I invite you to Jesus. I invite you to be, and I hope you'll forgive the quaintness and simplicity of my words, I invite you to be saved.
Blessed are the poorest ones, for heaven comes to where they are in you, in you. Blessed are the ones who mourn, for comfort comes to find them all in you, in you. And those who seek will be made right, they will be filled and lifted high in you, in you. Blessed are the merciful, for mercy will be shown to them by you, by you. Blessed are the ones who call your name. Blessed are the ones you save. You bless the pure in heart. We will see our God. We will see our God. Those who long for making peace, they will become the children of our God, of our God. Blessed are the meek, for they receive the earth and all that's found in you, in you. Blessed are the ones who call your name. Blessed are the ones you save. Oh, you bless the pure in heart. We will see our God. We will see our God. Just to know you, just to love you. What more can I ask for? What more can I ask for? If just to know you, if just to love you. What more can I ask for? What more can I ask for? If just to know you, if just to love you. What more can I ask for? What more can I ask for? Just to know you, just to love you. What more can I ask for? What more can I ask for? Oh, blessed are the ones who call your name. Blessed are the ones you save. Oh, you bless the pure in heart. We will see our God. We will see our God. Oh, we will see our God. We will see our God. And persecuted we will stand, for our reward is heaven here and now, still to come.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Boone, Minister of Missions at First Baptist Huntsville. To be a follower of Jesus means that you're on mission. God calls all of us to join our hearts with God's heart for the world. I hope that you'll join us as we seek to be the church in the heart of the city, with a heart for the region and for the world. You can visit the missions page on our website to find different ways to serve right where you are, or you can join us as we travel outside of our city and throughout our world. You can also email me at tim@fbchsv.org. I'd love to hear from you.
This week, TV Church is in Big Spring Park, and we're having a cardiological conversation. You know, we're honking around.